Hi, and welcome to the vertical installation of a T&J panel system. We're going to walk you through what a vertical installation looks like and the steps necessary to complete this. First steps first, make sure you have your permit readily available. On that permit, you're going to see a trench depth. You want to stay on contour typically, and you will excavate the trench to the appropriate depth. Once you've excavated the trench to the appropriate depth, you're going to want to take a short tooth rake and scuff up those sidewalls. This only typically occurs when you're in clay soils. If you're in sandy soils or loamy soils, you may not need this process. But if you're in clay soils and it looks like it's tight, take a short tooth rake and scuff up those sidewalls. After you've scuffed those sidewalls, please utilize pulverized lime and throw it on the side of the sidewalls. That pulverized lime is going to open up the pores in the soil so that it can accept effluent. The next step, place 6 inches of backfill sand in the trench. This sand is going to be typically a C33 or a 2S sand gradation. It needs to be a medium, naturally occurring sand. Once that 6 inches of sand is in the bottom, you will place a 1x6 board on top of that 6 inches of sand. That 1x6 board is there for stabilization purposes. The panel blocks will be set on top of this board. The next step will be putting panels inside of the trench. But before we can get to that step, we need to know how many panels go in that trench. There's 2 ways to do this. The easiest way to do this is to go on our website, check out the calculator, plug in the line length, and it'll tell you how many panels go in that trench. If you're not around a computer and you're not able to get to our website, you can do this in the field. The easiest way to do that is take the linear footage of the trench, times it by 12, and divide it by 52. That formula is going to come out with a decimal point. If it is 0.5 or higher, we do round up, so you'll need an extra panel. If it's 0.4 or lower, you can round down. The next step is putting the panels in the trench. There's a couple different ways you could put the panels in the trench, but the easiest way is to utilize the J-hook. This J-hook is provided by either your distributor or T&J Panels directly. This J-hook will hook to any excavator, piece of machinery that you have, and makes the process easy and simple. Once your panels are in the trench, you typically have them spaced between 4 and 7 inches apart. Most panels are about 6 inches apart, but depending on that calculation, they can be put closer together or further apart. Once your panels are in the trench, you're going to need to cut your 2-inch PVC pipe. You're going to cut it to a length of 24 inches or 2 feet long. That 2-inch PVC pipe will be placed inside the panel from one inside chamber to another inside chamber. But we have a step to do before we get to that point. We are going to use our foam sealer. Our foam sealer we use is a full fill GP. We want to make sure we used a closed cell formula because this is going to allow the wastewater to stay inside the panel and go into that PVC pipe. Make sure you shake it really well, and then spray the foam sealer inside the 4 cutouts. You want to make sure that you have a half moon seal on the bottom before placing the PVC pipe in there. When you place your PVC pipe on top of this foam sealer, you want to make sure again that it is inside the inner chambers on both panels. Once the PVC pipe is in this position, you will take the full fill GP and you will get a full seal on the outside cutouts. That's going to allow you to have no debris getting inside the panel once the installation is complete. The inside cutout, you will not need any more foam sealer. You want the effluent to be able to get out of that inner chamber and down into the escape ports if it ever needs to. Once you've finished putting your 2-inch PVC pipe in and you foam sealed it, you're gonna have one at the very end of each line that does not have a PVC pipe in it. We're gonna need to foam that very end cutout all the way to the top to prevent any outside debris from getting inside the panel. Once that foam sealer is full to the top, you'll take your cap blocks that come with your panel blocks and set it on top of the panel. You're gonna leave a little bit of an overhang when you set these cap blocks. And the reason for that overhang is to protect the foam sealer as it sets up, because we are going to backfill this thing with sand all the way to the top. Once it's at this point, you're ready for inspection. You want to leave those caps easily accessible. Typically, when an inspector gets to your job site, the first thing they're going to do is make sure that your line lengths are in accordance with the permit. They want to know if you have the correct number of panels in the trench for the trench length, so they're going to be using that formula we just gave you. Typically, they're going to shoot grade. They're going to make sure that you installed this system either level or a 1/4 inch fall per 10 feet. That's the tolerance when installing drain fields. Once they've gotten that done, they're going to go around, they're going to pick up a couple of your cap blocks, they're going to make sure that your foam sealer has been put in appropriately and that PVC pipe is inside both chambers completely. The sand, they're going to check your sand to make sure that it is a naturally occurring medium gradation sand. After that's all done, they are off your site. You can backfill. Our backfill is typically 4 to 6 inches of cover, and then we do apply a vegetative growth over top of it. That concludes the vertical installation of a T&J panel system.